So oh, it just restarts. So we can do 15 minutes each time.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's just the amount of,
You can only do 15
right
minutes.
ones. Yeah.
So can you just try this? Sorry.
Alright, hi, we're Team Lend a Hand. I'm Nicole.
I'm Christian.
I'm Shane.
I'm Beta. I'm Josie.
And I'm Jeffrey.
We're excited to show you what we've been working on this semester. So we're presenting Scribble Buddy, and this is what we've built over the course of the semester, and it allows someone without fingers or finger mobility to write with a pen or pencil.
The pen is the tongue of the mind. It's also mightier than the sword. There's a lot of different saying about pens and pencils and writing, and there's a reason for that. Writing is arguably the centerpiece of civilization. Now, imagine losing the ability to write. Over 3 million people in the U.S. have a disability in their hands or forearms. This comes from a wide range of causes, such as chronic injuries, congenital defects, conditions that cause gradual onset impairment, and work-related injuries.
So the problem that we're trying to solve is to find and create a way for people with disabilities in their hands to use a pen or pencil that bypasses their fingers.
So our key insights into practice makes perfect is kind of one of the assumptions we went on. We believe that speed and accuracy and proficiency increase with time used. For a lot of our users, they haven't actually written with a pen and pencil for a while, and so we think that it might start slow, but they'll get more accurate with more use. We needed to consider all use cases. There are a lot of different disabilities we're dealing with here, so it needs to be easy and accessible to put on or remove the device for anyone. And we need to change out the writing utensil, pen, pencil. We even considered toothbrush as something we might be able to clip on here. And of course, Velcro is the bread and butter of disability, according to this man on my right. Velcro is oftentimes used in a lot of attachments, prosthetics that people with disabilities use because it's very easy to use. And so we thought that we needed to incorporate that just because it's easy for our users.
From these key insights, we came up with our specific how can we statement, which is how can we create a durable, comfortable, modular device to assist users without the use of their fingers to write efficiently. And these are a few of the design goals that we came up with. First of all, we wanted our device to be modular and to be able to use at least 3 different utensils, like a toothbrush, a pen, a pencil, and we accomplished this design goal by using magnets in our device, which we can show you later. And then our other design goal was that we wanted to have ease of use for our user, and then we also wanted our device to be affordable and under $30. And then these are the measures of success that we came up with. In the short term, we wanted our user to be able to sign their name, and we actually accomplished that with our prototype. And then in the medium term, we wanted our user to be able to write a paragraph. And then for our long-term measure of success, we wanted to be able to write notes for a whole 50-minute class. And as you can see, we accomplished our short-term measure of success, but our device still has a lot of work to do in the future.
So once we created our measures of success, we immediately began rapid prototyping. So one of the first things we wanted to figure out is how the pen attachment itself was going to work. We played around a lot with the idea of a pushing motion to push the pen into a clothespin or binder clip of sorts. That way the pen could be locked into place. However, we later rejected this idea, considering that when we assumed that our users would have enough strength to be able to fully complete that pushing motion to get the pen locked into place. We also experimented with the idea of a storage sleeve, a place where the user could easily store their pens and slide them on and off with ease so that they could be stored very easily. finally, we thought about using an inflatable sleeve, something like a blood pressure cuff, so that the user could push to secure the sleeve around their arm, and then that way it would be held securely. From this, we created our first low-fidelity prototype, which is comprised of a sleeve of blue mesh held with pipe cleaners, and the pipe cleaners hold the blue mesh in a sort of upright U position. That way, it acts as sort of a skeleton, so the user can put their arm in. The way the user puts on the low-fidelity prototype is they put one arm out across their arms, and then using a strap with Velcro on the end, hook the strap around their arm and secure it tightly in place with Velcro. The pen is then attached onto the side of the strap at about a 45-degree angle with magnets, and this makes it easiest to use.
So up until this point, we've mostly just been testing among ourselves. So we brought our device into studio and tested it on 5 unfamiliar users, none of which did have disabilities. So we gave them 3 tasks. One was to simply put on the device. Once they did that, we asked them to pick up the pencil with the device, and then finally to write or sign their name, or do a drawing of some sort. And after they completed these tasks, we gave them a brief usability test, which is based on the SUS, and it was just a series of 10 simple questions. So as you can see through, these are examples of 4 of those questions. We overall had pretty high rated scores with definitely some places to work on in terms of just making sure the device was providing clear instructions to how to use the device, because it's not immediately obvious, but most people imagine that they would learn to use it pretty quickly, so that was encouraging. And so the following slide is an example of some of the writing and drawings that were produced. So if you focus on the one on your left, the very top one is the person first using the device and seeing how they could write, and it's pretty large. The second one below that, the FA is cool and I like it, is like them experimenting, writing a little smaller, and the third line is their actual handwriting. So we're able to get it pretty close.
So we used some of the knowledge we gained from testing to improve our next prototype. One of our observations was that people would put their entire hand through the device and attach it to their wrist, which is not something we wanted them to do. Another thing was people couldn't quite tell where the attachment point with the Velcro was. So to improve both of those things, we decided to make the middle part where the wrist is meant to go out of a different material. We lined the outside with Velcro so that it would be more obvious where it attaches on, and it gives more size availability. And the middle part is meant to be more flexible because the wrist goes there. It gives more motion in terms of what our users can use, and that gives better handwriting control. So this is our newest prototype. The outside is made out of a sink liner flexible plastic. That way it's rigid on the outside, but still flexible in the middle. And the pen attachment, it's at less of a 45-degree angle, and it's closer to upright, which we thought more resembled the angle at which one naturally writes with a pen. And we still used the elastic stretched over the side idea with a cloth loop that one can put their hand in and stretch it around.
So in total, we've made a huge amount of progress this semester, but as you can see, this is a long-term project. So over the medium term, I'm planning on continuing to test this prosthetic on as many people with disabilities as possible at a orthopedic hand clinic that I go to in Cincinnati this summer, and I will use that data gained from that to finalize the design. And then in the long term, once we have a final design, the idea is to partner with manufacturers and mass produce the prosthetic so that we can get it into as many hands or forearms as possible.
Thank you. Yeah, Jake?
My question is, what were some existing solutions to this problem? Are there any out there right now?
Yeah, so the question was about existing solutions. We came across quite a few that addressed issues with people writing who had like arthritis or like other hand conditions.
But the ones that we found weren't really general enough to work for our user group. And we were specifically designing something that like didn't require finger use at all. Some of the examples that we found were actually kind of funny. Like there's one that was like a head pointer that like you attach the pen to your head and then you like use your neck to like write. But we didn't really find any like existing solutions that like really worked for our user group.
Did your final design include magnets? Or was that like an initial prototype?
Yeah, as you can see, Jeffrey has it up there. Our final design does include magnets, and that's how we're able to accomplish being able to attach multiple writing utensils and make it pretty generic so that it can be used with a lot of different tools. Essentially, the holder just has like a magnetic attachment on it, and then any writing utensil you were to use, like a pen or pencil, will have matching opposite magnets so that you can just pick it up by snapping the magnets on.
And let's just say you're like you bump your hand and like the angle is messed up. Is there a mechanism for fixing the angle, or is the magnet like so strong that it?
So the question was if like you bumped it, whether or not the pen angle would shift. The magnets are pretty strong, so like it did seem to like stay in place when we were writing with it. But I mean that's definitely something that can be improved in future projects.
So one consideration we had to have is that a lot of people with disabilities have magnetic implants or metal prostheses or other things. So we need to find a delicate balance between having it be too strong and then also be steady enough. So we're still playing around with that.